So let me ask you this, Dante, because you've said this a couple times, and I feel the same way you do. And I think you're about my age. And so when I go around talking to people that, at least the DEA guys that are our generation, I think they have a real love for the country. I think they have a real, you know, I think they really, we see what we did really help the country and we love the country. Where do you think that as you have been a supervisor, have you seen that change at all? I know you're in Texas, right? And so Texas is very patriotic anyway. Have you seen any change in that with younger agents?
Yes, and I'm not an expert on it. I've gone to all the management conferences on different generations and everything else.
Hmm.
I You see a lot of it. There's a lot more of I don't want to be critical of the youth and everything.
Sure.
A lot of what's in it for me. I mean, people don't do things much career wise. I mean, like if you got into a DEA job, that's what you're doing. You get people now who are coming to DEA. Well, I'm going to check it out for a year, and then I'm going to jump over here. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Uh, there's not that type of career orientation that way, and I think everyone loves the country in their own way. It's
Hmm.
just different. Politics in this country have gotten kind of weird, to
Yeah.
say the least.
Yeah.
But I think you and I grew up from the same time. Every morning we said the Pledge of Allegiance at school.
Yeah.
We grew up loving our country. No one was telling our country was bad. If a person was telling us our country bad, he was probably a communist. And we definitely like him. We grew up in the Cold War, right?
Right. Right.
I think that's a big thing
Yeah.
because now we're kind of entering potentially another Cold War, or we're there.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it because we grew up with it. But it's a whole new ballgame for a lot of other people. China was always up and down with the United States there, and
Mm-hmm.
not really friendly.
Yeah.
But the Soviet Union was the evil empire, right?
Right.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was my governor when I grew up. He was the guy who hired me as president of the United States.
Yeah.
Um, Now we're seeing that evolve again, and I just don't think this current generation or two did have that. Where we grew up with World War II vets, a Cold War that was very cold and very bad for a long time. And then 1989, the wall came down, 91, 92, all these countries formed. Everything was pretty peachy for a while. And now, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of issues throughout the world. Then we had
Sure.
all this terrorism going on
Sure.
and everything else. So the world was not a safe place by any means. But now we're talking strategic powers that are engaging in right now the largest land war in Europe since the Second World War. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But certainly, I think we were brought up a little differently.
Yeah.
And I, I have optimism for everybody. It's just different, and you got to adapt and find people's strengths and weaknesses, and see where they fit in best. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, I said this many times as an ASAC. I'm like, the people we're hiring now are like the smartest people I've ever seen in my life. I don't get their points of views on a lot of things, but they're super, super smart. So, I mean, it's a different world. We've got this automated world. I started DEA. We didn't even have cell phones in a pager. We had two in the group. Actually three. We had one for the GS, one for the backup, and an undercover pager. So look how that's evolved.
Yeah.
We had clerk typists in my office.
Yeah.
We dictated reports, and we had three typists who would type our reports for
Yeah.
us.
No computers, no cell phones, pager in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of different things in the world, but I'm optimistic for the United States because it's the greatest place to be,
Yeah.
and we've got great, smart people, and it's up to our educators, I guess, to get them in line.
Yeah.
No, but it's a great place, but very, very smart people. But it's different. It
Yeah.
is different.